Hi, kids. Today we're going to be working on Week 18, Reading Rhythms 4. You will need to redo the assignment if you miss any questions. Please watch the video again before redoing the assignment. If I see that you've done it 4 or 5 times, I'm pretty sure you're just guessing. Use this video to help you. Let's review what you know so far. A quarter note is called 1 if it's in the first beat, 2 in the second beat, 3 in the third beat, 4 in the fourth beat. So any quarter note, if it was in the second beat, would be called 2, for example, or a quarter note in the first beat would be called 1. Our quarter rest is called sh because it doesn't get any sound. The eighth notes we call 1 and, 2 and, 3 and 4 and, depending on what beat they fall into. So 2/8 notes in the fourth beat would be called 4 and. 2/8 notes in the second beat would be called 2 and. Now we have some new notes. These are the 16th notes and they're in groups of 4. We call them 1 E and A, 2 E and A for the second beat, 3 E and A for the third beat, and 4 E and A for the fourth beat. So 4 16th notes found in the third beat would be 3 E and A. 4 16th notes in the first beat would be 1 E and A. Okay, let's do a little practice. Let's say that I start with a quarter note in the first beat. I would call that 1. 2/8 notes in the second beat would be 2 and, because they each get a half a beat. Now let's say that I want to put 4 16th notes in the next beat. That would be 3 E and A. And let's say that I put 4 16th notes in the fourth beat. That would be 4 E and A. So depending on the beat they fall in, that's the number they get. Quarter notes are always going to be 1, 2, 3, or 4. Eighth notes will always be 1 and, 2 and, 3 and, 4 and. 16th notes will always be 1 E and A, 2 E and A, 3 E and A, or 4 E and A. Now let's do one that has a 16th note, a quarter rest in it. So let's start off with my 16th notes. In the first beat, I would call them 4 16th notes would be 1 E and A. Now I'm going to put in a quarter rest. It's not going to show up, but we call that shh because notice it's silent. Let's do 2/8 notes in the third beat. That would be 3 and, because again, this is my third beat. And then finally, let's put a quarter note in the fourth beat. We'd call that 4. Okay, hopefully this little video helps you understand how to count your rhythms. Again, quarter notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, depending on what beat they're in. Eighth notes, 1 and, 2 and, 3 and, 4 and, depending on what beat they're in. 16th notes, 1 E and A, 2 E and A, 3 E and A, or 4 E and A, depending on what beat they're in. And then finally, our friend, the quarter rest, is always shh, no matter where it is. But remember, it takes up a beat. So if it's in the first beat, the next beat would start with the 2. If it was in the second beat, the next beat would start with the 3. And if it was in the third beat, the next beat would start with a 4. So if I had 4 16th notes here, it wouldn't be 1 E and A. It would be, here's the first beat, here's the second beat, here's the third beat. It would be 4 E and A. I hope that you have a wonderful week. Stay safe.